Welcome to another episode of COG's Crystal Ball. Today we're talking about the future of VR. Specifically, does VR have a future? My prediction, maybe. Which, possibly not what you came here to hear, but on the other hand, it's what I'm going to tell you. Once again, the future of VR might not be a future at all. The problem, you see, is twofold. We're moving in two different directions. Well, three, technically. Direction 1 is very expensive. That's things like the HTC Vive, or the next generation of the Sony VR platform. I don't know what they're calling it, probably just PSVR again. Sony isn't known for being incredibly creative with their names, and I suspect that this will be no exception to that rule. These are systems that require something of a buy-in. Perhaps you need a expensive console, or maybe you need an expensive headset, or maybe you need both of those things, and they expect you to be a fool. Maybe you need both console and a headset, and you're a fool for thinking otherwise, and you're a fool for thinking you can get away with this spending less than, oh god, I don't know, like $1,000? Yeah, it's gonna be $1,000. I don't know what you're thinking. Oh, well, the headset for the PSVR original wasn't that expensive. Yeah, but you had to buy a system to work it with, so guess what, suckers? It's still coming up on $1,000. Same with the Vive. Actually, the Vive is way worse. The Vive is way worse. Let's not even talk about the Vive. The Vive is so bad. But on the other hand, it's a very high quality VR experience. What this does is this option makes for a very compact, narrow install base of users. So your other option is the Facebook option, aka Oculus Quest. Doesn't cost a lot of money, hell of a lot less than $1,000. On the other hand, quality's not great. Well, no. You know what? No. I'm not going to mince words. It's not awesome. The graphics aren't the worst. They're still somehow better than the original PSVR, but they're not even going to hold a candle to the next generation of PSVR. That's just how it shakes out. So these are the two options you have to work with when you're deciding what the future of VR is going to look like. Also, there's the third. We're going to get to that in a minute. My prediction is that unless we make virtual reality incredibly accessible, the sort of thing that a person practically has in their hands at all times anyways, kind of like a smartphone actually, we're probably not going to see much of a future for VR. Basically, the platform is kind of doomed because, well, look at it this way. We've discovered over the last year and a half that we're very social animals, and we don't do so hot when you take that component away from our daily life. We don't do well in captivity, in isolation. And VR is inherently a very lonely platform to mess around with. So what you're gonna need is a version of it that's less lonely, you know? And one way to combat that is if everybody has VR. Now, Facebook is moving in a great direction by making it only like a few $100 to get into this platform, but you're still strapping on a big old clumsy old headache-inducing headset and cutting yourself off from everybody else involved unless literally everybody has a headset. So that kind of brings me to my third option. Bear with me, AR. Now, I know we tried AR and it kind of tanked because it's incredibly expensive and nobody can use the platform because of how expensive it is. And Microsoft tried it, and if Microsoft can't make it work, then maybe nobody can. On the other hand, they did sort of sell it to the military, and the military really liked it to the point where they're starting to use it for training and for other stuff. I don't know what the military is doing with HoloLens, with the AR gear, but they're doing something with it to the point where they bought 1 million of them for military things. And the good news on that front is that that means that everybody's in that very narrow sphere is going to be developing the technology to be faster, more portable, more affordable, more rugged, more user-friendly. So we might see in a few years AR come like real Cinderella story type stuff, just come barreling out of the back corner at the last half of the last lap to really win the race. But for now, no. So kind of three options, but actually mostly just two, and really if we don't figure this out, maybe zero. We need VR to be as accessible as our phones, as the things we have in our hands all the time, literally every day, all day long, to the point where you can't put them down without developing some sort of, like, a complex. Children get it sometimes. It's very sad. We need VR to be that accessible, or else we're not getting VR. Not the way we imagined it, not the way we want it to be. Oh, and sidebar, I don't want to use it if I can't see like a keyboard of some sort while I'm in there, because then it can just replace a laptop. It can just be in the new computer. But if I have to like do a bunch of wiggly motions or otherwise pretend that a keyboard is there that I just sort of have to trust the implicit existence of, I'm not going to adopt the platform, and a lot of other people aren't either. So in conclusion, my prediction for the future of VR is that VR doesn't really have a future unless it goes like the cheap route via Facebook and becomes accessible to everybody, or the more social route via AR, where you're not completely cut off from the world around you and people can interact with this thing in a way that doesn't leave them feeling like a lonely weirdo with a helmet on. Or I guess, third option, it gets so totally amazing because we keep pumping tons of money into it so that nobody cares that they're completely cut off and isolated. But based on the prohibitive cost of entry, maybe don't bet on that particular horse. This has been COG's Crystal Ball. Tune in next time when I'll make another pretty obvious prediction about something that we all could have seen coming if we just thought about it for like a minute. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. No, scratch that. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to get more videos.